So this is my first time doing something like this. It's completely unscripted. So if it sounds confusing or all over the place at some points, it probably is. Just leave me a comment below and I'll do my best to clarify. Now, I normally stream on Twitch, so if this is your first time hearing my voice, hi, hello. Now, the gameplay on screen doesn't really matter too much, so if you want to listen to this while doing something else, go for it. So, it's been about a month since the Checkmate, or the March 5th patch as I like to call it, dropped, and I asked my followers over on Twitter if they felt like the patch improved their experiences, in which I got a bit of a resounding no. Now, obviously, it's a pretty small sample size, and kind of biased as well. Typically, a lot of my followers tend to be a bit higher skilled, and also on PC. So, if your experience happens to differ at all, that's probably why. However, I would be lying if I said that the patch solved all of our issues. In some ways, it created more issues than it really solved, but we can talk about that more later. Now, if people remember, Checkmate was largely being praised for its emphasis on primaries and the shift from the special ability dominated gameplay that we've all otherwise been familiar with for the past 2 years. It seemed like Bungie had finally done something right when it came to PvP. We were getting the 60-40 split they promised all the way back in 30th anniversary. So what happened? Why did people hate it? Well, what is Checkmate? The original iteration of Checkmate had the following changes. Increased health, therefore increasing the time to kill. Damage profiles for all weapons were changed, prioritizing headshots over body shots, meaning something like 120 that normally 2 had 1 body inside of normal PvP required 3 heads unless you have precision instrument. Ability generation went down by 50%, super generation went down by 40%, and you never spawn a special. Instead, you have to earn it through primary kills or playing the objective in modes like control, thanks to the new special transmat system. Oh, and because it was a labs, it was connection based. Needless to say, I think it was probably the most fun I've had playing this game since 2-tapped 120 meta and Beyond Light. And despite how snowbally it could be in modes like survival, it seemed like they actually had a pretty solid concept down. It didn't last. Damage profiles were updated for all primaries to keep them competitive with hand cannons. Ability generation was changed to 30%, later 15%. Super generation was also changed to 20%. And you serve special, making progress on the new bar system they added became even easier. And they also added the control, which invited skill-based, which quickly showed all the flaws within the new system they were planning on adding. It quickly turned a universally loved modifier to morph the same PvP experience, but worse. With primaries feeling mostly the same, and the minus 15 and minus 20% towards abilities and supers feeling like a band-aid fix at best, the game really isn't that different. Things like overshields are even more prevalent than what they were before, thanks to the health increase. And sure, you aren't going to see SMGs as often, and you have a bit more freedom to use whatever primary you want. Autos ended up practically taking their place, at least for now. At least in 6s, the gameplay loop consists of who can team shot more, or who can sit in the back further, usually a conjunction of both, winning the match. When it comes to 3s, or more specifically trials, gameplay loop isn't that bad. I'd say in most situations, it's better. The constant fear of getting sniped by Prime Panda for an entire game is gone. Things like Strand or Barricades aren't up for the entire match, only 80 or 90% of it. And with the return of special ammo crates in comp and trials, with the latest update, maybe the 3's experience will get better, maybe it will get worse, I really don't know at this point. And for what it's worth, I don't think this patch is absolutely terrible. It's a bit awkward, it's a little rough around the edges, but I think it was a stepping stone of the changes coming and into the light and final shape. Maybe the complete product won't feel so bad. Maybe we'll get the promised 60-40 split. That's a lot of maybes. But if you guys like this style of off-the-ball commentary video, maybe I'll try something like this again in the future. We'll see. Feedback is insanely appreciated. Thanks for watching.
I hope you know what I've been saying, 'cause there's way too much to